Our new sponsor, Better, is a fast-growing daily fantasy sports app. When you sign up using promo code PLAYBOOK in all caps, you receive a free $10 and a 100% deposit match up to $25. Welcome to the NBA Hangout presented by Playbook Sports. I'm your host, Brandon. With me, as always, is Dave. Dave, how are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. This NBA season has been fun. We just got finished wrapping up the NBA Cup. We're into trade season. December 15 just happened, so that means more guys are eligible to be traded. So the rumors are starting to heat up. We'll talk a little bit about that stuff. And I think we got some new emerging talent like entering the NBA fold right now. We got Jalen Johnson, Stephen Castle making impacts on their teams. Talk about some of those guys, and of course we got this heated MVP race, which I don't know which way you can really go with it at this point. It's so close with the top three guys, and I think we also have, with the theme of like emerging people, some guys who are in that top 5, top 10 list that haven't been there before. So lots and lots to talk about. How's your time been with the NBA?
It's been a roller coaster. Yeah, it's funny because came on here to start the season as a Raptors fan. It's like, this team, I don't know what we're gonna do. Then it's like, we have another episode, and it's like, oh man, like look out, like, Raptors gonna do it all. And then right after that, they go on another losing streak, and I'm morose again. So it's been something. Yeah,
still better than last season though.
Yeah, better than last season. Yeah, for sure.
Ups and downs. That is the theme of the NBA. Lots of runs, like within the game. There's lots of runs these years. Like teams tend to go on like these 8-0 runs. Then they get followed up with the other team going on like an 8-0, 10-0 run. Like that's just the theme of the NBA. Going on a winning streak, you got to follow it up with a losing streak, especially in this tightly contested East. Seems to be the case. East, though, are the winners of your NBA Cup, that being the Knicks, winning their first title of any sort since the 70s. But that's great. Great for the Knicks. It was a great win. All seriousness. Those guys played well. Jalen Brunson came out as the MVP for the tournament, as he played terrific through all the games, as you would expect Jalen Brunson to do for this Knicks team. What were your first thoughts with the NBA Cup in general, like how it went, the winner? You could take it wherever you wish.
The NBA Cup to me, like you and I have been fans all along, and it's been this thing that's like been earning its legitimacy. You had some people who, like us, who are like, oh yeah, you know what? Like I dig this. This is fun. You can tell the players care. They care about getting the little payday. It's a fair amount of money, so like they care, and it's building, right? And like the media was really, really like on board in the first couple years, and this year, like I feel like there was like a little bit of pullback from the media, which was like a little bit of a shame. But it was like you were questioning because like when the Bucks won, and Giannis was like, oh, we haven't won anything yet. Because he wanted to win the championship. Like the cup wasn't the goal, right? It was nice that it happened, but it wasn't the goal. That like I really feel like was the thing that set like the cup back the most. And this year, like I don't feel like there was the marketing behind it as much. But watching, I think the Knicks winning might be like one of the best things to happen. They have come out to say like they're not going to raise a banner. They're not going to be the first team to raise a cup banner.
But Lakers already beat them to the punch for that.
Oh, that's right. They did raise a cup banner.
They're talking about having the Lakers take their banner down.
Like there can only be one banner. It's just the current champs.
Yeah, just championship banners. We're not doing NBA Cup banners. No, I feel a lot of things there. Like I feel some of the pullback might have been just from it being more integrated into the season. Like it felt like more of like this is just what happens now this year. And I found like once we got to like the knockout stage, especially, like things really picked up viewership. Viewership hit a high this year for the NBA Cup in general, but I think some of that has to do with just the new landscape that the NBA has been using. Like we are talking earlier about like how it's on Amazon and just the way that the broadcast works now and how much more optimistic those broadcasts are versus how they were in the past, where they're just kind of pessimistic, kind of nitpicking on a bunch of little things. So I think that's helped as well. So it's just like the natural course of the NBA this year to kind of be in this positive space. So it might not stand out too much when they do talk about the NBA Cup, because it just seems to be par for the course for how they're managing the season in general. But I found once they got into that knockout stage, like the games are like fantastic. Like the Spurs Thunder game. Just an incredible game. You had just entering into that game, you had the Thunder, who were on like a 16, 17 game winning streak, having lost only one game at the time. Yeah, the Spurs, who won, I think it was like 5 out of their last 8 entering that game, all without Wemby, which was very impressive as well for that young team to take that step. They beat a Lakers team to get there, which was also like a Lakers team led by Luca and LeBron. Like that's not no easy feat for such a young team without Wembanyama. But he comes back for the Thunder game. He comes off the bench and he makes his impact immediately felt. I did like a mini like 6-minute podcast before the game, and that was one of the things I wanted to track is Wemby's impact. Like, how's that going to affect the Thunder, since they haven't really had to seen something like that throughout the season. And I think at halftime it was something like he was a plus 20 in a game that they're losing by 3, like at halftime or something ridiculous like that. Like every time he stepped on the court, just things changed from so many facets of the court, from rebounding to playmaking to shooting. He's just, what he can provide on the team is just outrageous, and on defenses as well, just making it a little tougher for Shea to see those angles to get to, and for him to like make that impact in the paint, him and Jalen Williams. And then on the East side, like you had the Knicks just storming through this, and I don't know if this is going to be representative of where the East might be going into a playoffs. I know we're far away from that, but do we see the Knicks as like the team to beat if you're in the East?
Yeah, I think so. They definitely have more experience than Detroit, and it just feels like Cleveland's taken a step back. Now they might just be doing the thing that a lot of like experienced teams that like have a great regular season and flame out in the playoffs do, which is take a step back but really put it together come playoff time. But I think right now, if you were to evaluate everybody who would have the best like shot in these playoffs, yeah, I think it's the Knicks. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, no, yeah, they've had a terrific, like they've kept their core intact. They've changed coaches to give their offense a little bit of a boost. Have a coach that's going to play their bench a little bit more, keep guys a little bit more fresher. So their improvement is definitely there for like 100% noticeable on the court. And you still have Brunson and Towns to kind of, when things slow down, to rely upon. And, you know, Brunson's able to find his bucket, find his spots. I do question though if they have, once they enter some of these series, like in a 7-game series, because you know the NBA Cup is still like a knockoff thing, one game, and you can knock a team out. I do wonder in a 7-game series how they do fare, because I'm not sure. Like if we're looking at best players in the East, best guards, if we just keep it at best guards in the East, I'm not sure Brunson is at the top of, like, he's at the top of the list, but I don't think he is the top of the list. Like I think you have a guy in Detroit with Cade playing point guard as well. You have a guy in Philly with Tyrese, who's also been having a terrific season as well. When you look at the point guard position, I think it's a very competitive spot to be in. So I do still have a little reservation about how they can manage in a 7-game series.
So I'm with you on that. Like you hit the thing, like the 1-game aspect of the cup, which is so fun, but I still worry about the Knicks like long term. And we've talked about it a bunch of times. It's having Brunson and Cat be your 1 and your 5, right? Because okay, put him up against the 76ers. Tyrese Maxey, like he's not a huge guard, so like him and Brunson kind of might cancel each other out, right? And then it, you know, Embiid's the X factor, right?
Yeah, like
what can he bring? Health? Yeah, but put him up against Detroit, and you've got Cade Cunningham, who's 6'8", legitimate 6'8", and Brunson's 6 foot. I
Yeah,
want to say.
if that,
If
if that
that, yeah, he's a
listed as such, but
questionable 6 foot. Um, Brunson's a bucket. Like that's not a question. Like he can fill it up. But yeah, if Cade wants to put him on his hip, he should be able to like just walk him all over the court, whatever he wants to do with them. And then you look at the way Jalen Duren's playing this year,
yeah, that's
and
the
you really
thing.
want,
Yeah,
like, you really think Cat's gonna get down and bang with that guy? Like, and if he does, like, it's not just Duren.
it's
He's
Isaiah
gonna get a
Stewart.
backup with Isaiah Stewart, right? Like in a 7-game series, Cat's gonna get beat up. You
Yeah,
know?
100%. Like, and they faced them in the first round last year, and Knicks won in 6 games, I believe, or 6 or 7, and it was a walk-off game winner from Jalen Brunson. But that series is extremely close and could have went either way
Yeah.
last year. And I feel like this year, this team is much better. I think the starting lineup that they've been going with Detroit, with Cade, Cade, Duncan Robinson, Azir Thomas, Tobias, and Jalen. It's just a very complete lineup. You have the offense working with Duncan. That helps Cade a
Yeah.
lot. Like it gives him the lanes that he kind of lacks sometimes. I still wish there was another playmaker that was next to Cade, like a Jaden Ivey. Maybe as he starts to come back and be more healthy, he can be that guy. Um, you got the defense and everything on both ends to kind of guard what the Knicks like to do. So I would be really intrigued if this was to have another 7 game series and to see where Detroit has improved, if they've improved enough to be better than the Knicks. The thing about the Knicks too is like the front court with Cat as your 5 is very questionable for me defensively, but the thing that always seems to work in their favor is that Mitchell Robinson, even with his knees falling off, he always has like 1 or 2 like important games where he like, and it happened in the NBA Cup. He had one of those games where like his knees were good enough. He was able to make impact in like 15 to 20 minutes, and he can flip a game just by what he can do on the defensive end of the court and what he can do with rebounding in general. So they rely a lot on him, which scares me. But he is someone that is there that can create that tension for our front court on the other end.
Do you? I guess a lot depends on what you think of like Ron Holland. Then like, can he be an X factor, either on the court or in a trade package for Detroit to make up that difference?
Yeah.
So I still think Detroit has optionality, and an optionality they can be patient with, more than New York does. And I like New York. New York's like, we'll get into it later, but like New York's one of the people who like is being talked about a lot with Giannis. Like, oh, they had a legitimate Giannis trade on the table in the summer, and maybe we could revisit that, right? Well, what's that mean? Does that mean Cat and
Yeah, what
Miles
are you
Bridges,
left with?
or not
Yeah.
Miles, Mikal Bridges? Is it Cat and OG? What are you left with? And then you don't really have a lot in the coffers to backfill, right? Like Detroit could backfill, San Antonio could backfill, Houston could backfill. Most other teams who might move for like Giannis, I don't know if like they've got enough left over outside of like Oklahoma, but they're not. They're just not going to do it. Yeah.
They got everything.
Yeah.
They got the
Oh my
Clippers pick. They got
God.
the Clippers
Yeah.
pick next year, so they're
Yeah. They're going to get like AJ Dabansta.
No, I think that's right.
The
Like I think,
Hawks will get Darren Peterson. It's going to be a wild couple of years.
yeah, 100%. The dynamics for the next generation is really going to start to be set in stone these next couple of years. And Cooper had 40 points the other night, like something for Dallas fans to
Cooper's looks
remember.
good.
Yeah, he's looking
Yeah.
good. Like he's not playing point guard no more, and look what happens. It's just comfort.
Yeah.
Sticking with the East.
Get him a point guard. Look what happens.
Yeah.
Even though his point guard's like as tall
He's
as
doing
I
good.
am.
Yeah, Ryan Nembhard's not doing bad. He's doing his thing.
Yeah. He's doing very
Staying
good. Yeah.
staying with the East. I guess in terms of title, like, so the Knicks did beat like the Spurs, who were a team who beat the Thunder, who we all
Yeah.
are looking at as like the favorites to win the NBA championship this year. They came in, the Thunder came in, or sorry, the Spurs came in and just took it to them and won that game. So I guess my questions are for both teams that are in this finals. Do we see the Spurs with a healthy Wembanyama as a title contender for the West, or at least a finals contender for the West? And do we see the same thing for the Knicks? I guess we talked about it within regards to the East, but do we see the Knicks as a team that could actually go all the way and win an actual NBA championship and not just the NBA Cup?
So is it that these teams are title contenders, or that like maybe Oklahoma isn't like, inevitable, because even like when Oklahoma won last year, they went to 2-3 game sevens to get it done.
Yeah, Denver and Indiana were for sure game sevens. I don't know if
Yeah. Did they
I think
game seven anybody else?
I think they got it in 6, but it was like a lot of grueling long series, and I don't think they said
Yeah.
themselves that they didn't even feel that like they played their best basketball at all during that whole run.
Nobody does.
Which I think is 100% fair. Like I don't think they did.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're 100% not inevitable. They get hot. Their defense. What is good about them is that their defense is there, it's set in stone. You're not gonna really crack that defense unless you have a crazy offensive game. I think it's only gotten better this year with guys getting older and with Chet just being healthy. So it's their offense that can kind of just wane. Like Chet's looked a lot better offensively this year. J Dub has come back from injury, so he's still working his way into it. Shea's been Shea. And they've gotten contributions from everybody as you expect from the Thunder. But I think the one place where you can get them at is on the offensive end. Like when you have a defensive playmaker like Wembanyama, and then you have Castle, who's a big guard. Like these big guards who can actually guard on defense, I think are extremely valuable going into this next era of basketball. Because as we saw, we were talking about, I feel like a few weeks ago, about how the prototype for your point guard needs to be like a tall guard. So I guess to counteract that, you're going to want a tall, big guard that can guard those guys. And Castle is one of those guys. Harper's not as big, but like he's a physical guy too.
He's showing he can be one of those guys.
Yeah. So like I think what's working in the Spurs' favor and why they might be a little bit more accelerated in their development this year is because of the defensive end and how they can impose themselves with having big guards who can do things and they can play make on the other end as well.
Yeah, it's I guess to answer your question, like are these other teams contenders? I do think so. Yeah, I do think so. I think that's one of the things about the NBA is, as much as it's a copycat league, it's I'm gonna figure out how to bust you up league.
How can we break this? Yeah.
We're gonna figure out how to break this no matter how dominant you are. And I think that's why like so few teams actually go back to back. I would still put my money on the Thunder. Like I still think they're the odds-on favorite to win and probably show better than last year. But I think I'm just past the point where it's like surprising if they were to lose.
Exactly. Right? I think I'm right there too.
And I think there's so many good teams to like tell a story about, right? Mm-hmm. So like you can tell the story about how Wembanyama beat the Thunder. You can tell a story about how Luka and LeBron beat the Thunder. You can tell a story about how KD was the missing piece. You can tell a story about, the
with Houston,
the one Knicks championship in 30 years.
Yeah, you got Denver, Jokic coming back in and getting another title for Denver is certainly a possibility. Like they're probably the second favorites to win a championship if you're looking at favorites.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's lots. Even if you go all the way down to Minnesota, Anthony Edwards, like, is he able to finally pull his team out and get them over the Western Conference hump? Can Golden State find their old legs for one more run? Like, there's a lot there's a lot to go through. Celtics doing it without Tatum. Being a top 4 seed right now. You got stuff everywhere. Cade. See, the thing with Detroit, to me, they're kind of viewing me as like an OKC East of like how that team just kind of popped out One year they're in the playoffs, next year they're in like conference finals, and then they're winning the whole thing. Like I think Detroit's kind of like on that path. I think OKC's team was a little bit better constructed, fit a little bit better around their players, but I think Detroit is well on their way to be one of those teams.
Yeah, and I think Houston's in that same. Houston and San Antonio are both kind of in that same pipeline. And one of the interesting things is like so far Houston's the only one to make a big acquisition.
Yeah.
So like the way that Detroit and San Antonio have been holding on to their picks for the most. Well, I guess San Antonio went out and got Fox.
They,
Just
they
didn't
did their
pay
little
like
thing
a
with Fox. They
ton.
just didn't. Yeah, exactly. They just didn't give up
Yeah.
much. We'll touch back on the trades before. Let's just wrap up the NBA Cup with the. So there's talk about. I think Adam Silver came out and talked about whether or not it's going to stay in Vegas. Taking it away from. Well, they're going to keep it in a neutral place, but
Yeah.
he spoke about it being at like a historically colleges instead, so maybe like a North Carolina, like some of these places where you get like a very, I guess, intimate like basketball crowd. I guess would be the thinking. You get like a lot of enthusiastic basketball fans, pure basketball fans, instead of Vegas where it's more of like a show. Which I don't know. Like part of me did like the Vegas thing. I liked when they got there. I like the entertainment that they get there, the celebrities that show out. It's always nice to see. The interactions that you kind of get over there. But on the flip side, bringing it to like a collegiate thing, a collegiate environment. This is like a collegiate-ish tournament with the knockout rounds. So just to put into that vibe as well, I think kind of fits also the narrative that they're going for.
I'd be okay with it. Like, I'm for touring it. Like, it doesn't have to be in Vegas at all. And Vegas is going to get a team someday. So
yeah, they're gonna have to move it soon.
One or the other. Yeah.
No, interesting to see what they do with that as they still try to like spice up this NBA Cup here and there on the margins. Because I think they found their base. They're just
send them on a tour. Put them in the Caribbean. Come on, have a party. Make the guys want to go even more. Free trip to the Caribbean, and you're gonna get like at worst $250,000, right?
At worst, them bench players be fighting for that. But back to the trade talk. Yeah, I think when you talk about these teams with like that would be willing to make these trades. Yeah, Houston's the only one that really went out and did anything in that regard. But I think there's reports recently that the Spurs and the Rockets kind of they can go again, but Spurs and the Rockets, I believe, and OKC, which I think we all expected, we're not going to be in strong pursuit of Giannis. Spurs feel like they like where they're going with their young core here. They've been building something pretty pure. They don't want to kind of blow it up for Giannis, which on one hand I understand. On the other hand, I'm very selfishly would love to see Wemby and Giannis on a team together. But I think from the way that the NBA is built out nowadays, you got to be very careful when you're blowing up your team for another superstar. And if you have young players who are promising, it almost makes sense to keep them financially, and see if you can fill out a roster other ways.
Well, yeah, and it's also like creating the pipeline, like by not trading for any of these superstars. Like Oklahoma just has this wild pipeline of draft picks coming, right? So anybody that they might lose along the way, they'll have a backup for, and it's just this huge buffer to build success upon. And it looks like San Antonio wants to do the same thing, because I'd like them to go and get like a power forward to play with Wemby. But like, right now it's gonna be Champagne or it's gonna be Sohan, and that's just the way it's gonna be.
Yeah,
Keldon Johnson.
Keldon Johnson, Harrison Barnes.
Not power forwards that necessarily excite you, but they're getting the job done. They're winning. They'll
get the job done. Yeah, they'll get the job done. And when you have Wemby, you don't got to worry too much about it. Yeah. And someone will pop up that's a lot cheaper than Giannis that they could just easily flip like a Vassell and whatever, a couple picks for, and they'll be in a conversation like easily. For any of those, for someone a little lesser. Maybe even the AD, like someone like that lesser. Like it could be, you never know. I guess then with Giannis and AD, what teams do you see going for Giannis and being able to actually handle him coming into their team?
I think like anybody could handle him coming in. Like I think his personality is that of a non-disruptor, and his game is a little bit unique in just like being perhaps the best driving big man of all time and just being so athletic for his size. That like it's not like you're putting anybody out, you're just adding that element. So I think everybody could like handle Giannis, the man and the player. So I think more of it is like a question of who would go for it, who would do it, right? I think the Knicks would do it. I would have said I thought San Antonio would do it until they've like committed to this other way. I think Golden State would absolutely do it.
Yeah, I think Golden State's a sleeper. I think Golden State's a sleeper in all of this. I think
Yeah.
they own nothing to Jimmy, really. They got him through a trade.
Yeah.
So if they can flip, I mean, they'll try to keep him and move Draymond, but if they need to flip him for like a Giannis, I don't see what would stop them.
So like even despite the fact that like Giannis is Giannis and like everybody wants him on their team, I don't know how many people are actually going to put together a package. So does that put like a Minnesota into play? Like, it would be like a Rudy Gobert and like a Dillingham and like maybe
Whatever
even
picks they have.
maybe even that great small forward kid they have,
Daniels. Yeah.
Right? Because it would be Giannis and it would be Anthony Edwards when you're all done, right? But like, yeah, when who's gonna give them good youngish big contracts to fill in the contracts, good young prospects to build the future upon, and then a handful of picks. Like, who's gonna do it?
The tricky part is a handful of picks. So
yeah,
the rumor team, the highly rumored teams right now have been the Knicks and the Heat. And the Knicks, I don't know if they do that anymore. I just don't know if they kind of shot again. Like these teams blew their load with like other with other moves. Like Bucks did it. We talked about earlier, or I think that's off camera with Dame, cutting Dame and getting Miles Turner. That was their like final shot. The Knicks kind of use that to get OG. They use like a lot of picks and all that stuff to like get OG, and that was kind of like their move. So they're left with not as much to. They don't have young players.
It wasn't OG. Really. It was Bridges.
Sorry, from Mikal. Yeah, from Mikal. So 5 picks. Oh, how could I forget? Yeah, 5 picks
They did all their young contracted players for OG, right?
Yes. They split it up. They used the picks for Mikal, and they sent their young guys for OG. So they don't really have much left in that regard. And then when I look at the Heat package, it does really depend on what is allowed to be done with Terry, and if they are getting whatever like compensation back for that trade. Because if they do get a pick back, let's just say a blanket pick back, they're able to trade 4 picks. Then they can add on top of that where Tyler Hero, whatever salary to make it match, and then that's probably outside of like a Mobley would probably be like your best combination of youngish players, picks, and budding all-star and Hero. He's all-star last year. So you can throw that in there. Budding all-star, you get young player, you get picks. That was probably like what the Heat would probably look to do if this is an in-season trade. But if they don't have that Terry situation sorted out, then they're only down to 2 picks. I don't know if 2 picks and 3 swaps is enough to entice you. Plus you're adding like whatever, Hawkes, whatever, Tyler Hero. I don't know if that's enough if you're the Bucks to let go of your franchise. You're probably the best player or second best player in franchise history.
It's one of those things like, we're going to say it again. We were talking off air just briefly about Giannis, and it would come down to like, he doesn't want to be the bad guy, but it would come down to him being like, guys, you're trading me. You're trading me. You're figuring this out and you're trading me. Right. And then it's just what package can you get? Right. Like, unless he's like, you're trading me to, Sacramento because I've always wanted to be a king. You're just gonna shop for the best package, right? But like personality wise, like South Beach and Giannis, just like it just
that'll be
like,
fun.
I just see him wearing like white button-down shirts with big sunglasses all the time, and out in the sun and like living life.
Yeah.
And
And
I
and
could
the
see
mentality of like
Giannis enjoying Miami. Yeah, a
and the
lot.
mentality of like how Giannis plays and how Miami likes to play, like pretty
Yeah,
much a match. The new offense would fit him seamlessly.
yeah.
Like this no pick, just get the ball and go. Like that's Giannis.
Get the ball and
Um,
go. Ram it down their throat if you have to.
we
Just
don't have to run these
don't
pick
let
and
anybody
rolls.
stop you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would fit, but I'm just it would come down to more so Giannis being like, yeah, trade me, and this is one of the teams I want to go to. I do wonder about Cleveland as they're kind of slipping here. Like if they do something drastic, I wonder about the Magic if they're able to do something with Paolo. Like I think these are some of the teams that should be looking at this Giannis thing that are close enough at the top of the East that can they make one of these moves for Giannis that might put them over the top if they keep the right pieces around.
It's yeah, that's a tough one, right? So like you're talking about trading like a young, like really good big, really good big, like the kind of bigs that you try to hold on to, build your team around big for Giannis, who's 30 or 31 now.
Yeah, it's like
Um,
yeah, midst of his prime.
so it is a challenge because like the Raptors are kind of in that same boat, right? Like would they trade a Scotty Barnes, right? And you grow to love your players, but like Scotty Barnes ain't gonna be a perennial top 4 MVP contender,
No, no.
right? I, Paolo of the three probably has the best chance at that. Mobley's already shown that he can do it on the defensive end. So they're probably a little higher on the list, but I
Mhm.
still like, do you hold on to him or do you go for like that certainty? And how much certainty are you getting? Because how old, like Giannis is his age, he's beginning to not be Superman. Like he's beginning to have chinks in the armor. He doesn't play 80 games a year, right? But his knee bends backwards in the playoffs and he plays the next game. You just don't know with him.
He'll play and he'll drop 50
Um,
and win you an NBA title. You never you never know with that guy.
I guess the question is who in the league would you not trade to get Giannis? And I don't think that list is very long, like at all.
I would have traded Luca if they just called him.
Right? See, like I don't know if I'd trade Luca for him anymore. Like I think they're kind of on like the same tier, but like I wouldn't trade SGA for him. I wouldn't trade Wemby for him. I wouldn't trade Jokic for him. I don't think I'd trade Luca for him.
That's probably where it stops. Anyone
And
after
that's for
that,
subs. Yeah, like
yeah.
any after
I mean,
that, like
I won't trade Steph, but that's that after Steph, yeah. But just because it's Steph, but like,
just because it's happened,
yeah,
yeah, he's only like the legacy is that important.
yeah, yeah.
But like, yeah, you can clutch your pearls on those like young players that you love on your team, and you can say like, yeah, Paolo's gonna be, the next Charles Barkley, right? But Giannis is already there, and he's been
Yeah.
there his whole career, and
Yeah, I think
he's not
I think
about to stop being there.
yeah, with some of these teams like Houston and Spurs just not being willing to do that right now, it really
It's
leaves it
crazy.
wide open. It really does leave it wide open for us team to kind of sneak in, which this might be the Heat's best chance to get one of these guys because there's not many like as we talk through right now, like there's really not many teams I could see putting forth the assets to attain this guy.
Yeah.
Just because they're all kind of like set in where they're trying to head. Maybe the Warriors, but I think moving on to like AD, that's the candidate here that's gotten some buzz recently. I know the Mavs keep saying that they're trying to win, they're still looking to win and all that type of stuff, but they'll take a good trade if a trade comes along.
Of course.
For AD. Teams kind of rumored. I think Raptors are one of the teams rumored for AD. But a team that I think should really make that push. I think this is the player that Golden State should go for. And this is the guy. I know he's like hurt, but that's the case.
Interesting.
Like
Yeah.
that's the case with Golden State. Like they're just a banged up team. But Steph is playing out of his mind. Like he's averaging like nearly 30 points. He's dropped like 40 the last like 5 out of like last like 7 games he's played. Like he's playing on another level right now. Just he's putting up these numbers and losing. It's just not what you're used to seeing with a Warriors team. Whenever Steph gets hot, whenever Steph has these games, it usually ends in a win. Hasn't been the case so far. They've gotten enough out of Jimmy, but not. They've gotten probably what I would expect Jimmy to give, but not what they might have expected to give, what Jimmy would give them. This is pretty standard for like Jimmy at this stage of his career, especially season basketball. Like, he's gonna have his ups and downs. He's gonna get to the free throw line. He's gonna play good defense. He's not gonna look super aggressive all the time on offense, especially when he has a guy like Steph who he knows can go out. That's just what it is, and kind of like what you should expect from Jimmy at this stage of his career. But they need another little bit of a punch there. Draymond doesn't have that on the offensive end. His 3-point shooting has been a little better, but you get in like an AD on this Warriors team, and I think they're right back in that conversation of what the top teams, like with the Denvers, the Los Angeles Lakers, Spurs. I think they're in that tier there if they're able to get a player of AD's caliber.
So for a lot of the same reasons, I think like AD to Boston is a pretty cool
that
play.
That would be very. I think he was linked there once upon a time too.
Yeah. So like Jaylen Brown's playing out of his mind right now, right? Like absolutely showing, why he got his contract, why he won Finals MVP over Tatum.
I forgot he did
that. Yeah. Derek White's kind of found his groove again. Pritchard's really kind of come forward, and they've got this like nice little thing going, and they've got no bigs. All their bigs are like no-name nobodies who have like 3 good games, and the city of Boston's like throwing them a parade, and then they're terrible, and then another no-name big has 3 good games. But they're gonna get Tatum
magic.
All right, like they're gonna get if they're close come the end of the year, they're gonna get Tatum back. If they're like out of it, they're gonna keep Tatum out, right? But like he's doing the work, he's gonna come back. Or he's going to be ready to come back at least. So if you don't really care about the regular season, which Boston obviously doesn't, like they wrote off this year, like they traded away Porzingis, like they knew what they were doing.
And they're still a top 5 team.
And they're still a top 5 team. So if they think like, hey, we just really have to be ready for the playoffs, then bringing in bringing in an Anthony Davis, having Tatum, having Jaylen Brown, whomever else, that it's Boston, just like the Lakers, they'll somehow
they'll be good,
a superstar for almost nothing. So like it'll be like Jordan Walsh and like one of those no-name bigs, yeah, and like a couple pick swaps.
Yeah.
In like years that don't exist. So yeah, but no, if you think about Boston with AD on it, it's kind
that's a very interesting one. That's an interesting one too. I think they're writing that like same type of feel, except you have Tatum coming back, and even if he's not coming back this year, you set this up. You're setting this up for next year, where you have your core of Tatum,
Davis
Jaylen
is
Brown,
32. He's.
Yeah,
but he's still, up here.
Yeah, he's still top.
He's not crested over yet.
He's younger than what Al Horford was for them. Like he'll be better. Like he'll be better than what.
He'll be a lot better than Al.
And Al was good. Al was really good for them. But he was old. He was older. Like he was old, and he had to do a lot for that at that age for that team. Yeah. You bring in a guy like AD to fit into that system like that. That can do some things. That could do some things to this East. I think this East just keeps getting like surprisingly like better and better. Yeah, I think you nailed it on the head with an AD thing. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the trade would be to get him there without them losing like a. Cause I think they kind of need Derek White now. Now I don't think they could trade him. Now I think he's kind of essential.
Yeah, he's come back around
to be what they need. So I'll be interested to see in like how you can make that trade. Maybe I might try to do that when we're off here just to see what that looks like.
Although if you were to send Derek White to Dallas, so you pair Derek White with like Kyrie,
right? Cooper,
Kyrie and Cooper. That's not bad, right?
That's a decent start right there.
You still have Clay
back next year.
Yep. Yeah, you can't trade Gafford though. So Gafford was on the block for a long time, but I don't think
but if you trade AD, you
gotta
keep
around
Gafford
for sure. Yeah. But Yeah, you could do some stuff with Derek White in Dallas. Actually, he'd be a nice little ad.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Would
I just
balance the
don't.
lineup really well.
I think he's a perfect fit for like a lot of these teams, Derek White. I just feel like
Yeah,
now Boston kind of reached a point where they're like, all right, we're good, we're decent, we can compete. Joe Mazzulla is a madman, so he doesn't know how to let
yeah.
up. So I think if there's a trade that had Derek White on the table, I think Mazzulla might just jump in front of the trade himself. Like he might just he might just be like, no, we're not getting rid of this guy. He's
We
essential
need this
for
guy.
we need him for what we want to build in Boston, which is fair enough.
I've never heard of this Gilgeous Alexander kid anyway.
Yeah, we're not trading Derek White for him though.
Yeah.
I guess in
man.
the theme of the East getting better and just being, the better. I can say it. I think the better conference so far this season.
It's been the funner conference at
It's
least.
definitely the most
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, the most
Yeah.
fun. You still got your top two contenders in the West. Like those are your
Yes.
title favorites. But I think the rest of the East has really panned out quite nicely, and I think a team, more importantly, a player that's really emerged from there has been Jalen Johnson on the Hawks. He's kept them afloat. They're 15-12 right now. Trey comes back tonight. We'll see how that works with Jalen assuming his new role. He's been a triple double getter. His
Yep.
playmaking from the forward position has been a sight to watch. It's almost like LeBron lightish. Like it looks like LeBron at times. The way that he finds his spots, the way that he's attacking the basket and finding cutters and all that type of stuff. It looks just like a little semblance of LeBron there. But he's been playing like tremendous, and he's definitely set to be an all-star. I would say he would be on my ballot.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's only the sky's the limit for that kid. Like all NBA at some point, and all that as long as Atlanta could remain successful.
Yeah, Jalen. So we started to see this last year before he got hurt, and that was the big question. Like when he comes back, is he going to be like which version of Jalen Johnson? Are you getting the ascending version, or it has the injury plateaued him at what he was prior? Right. Clearly ascending. This is awesome. It's really great. And when you're playing like that, like a lot of it is your like basketball intelligence, right? Like it's not like Jalen Johnson is the miraculous super athlete, right? Like he's not more of an athlete than the Thompson twins or probably even like Shaedon Sharp. He's not the athlete LeBron James was, but he's a good athlete. He's a very good athlete, very good, very well rounded. But it's his smarts that allows him to be where he needs to be, do what he needs to do, play make, right? That's a big one. And so like this success should just go forward. The question is like, this is the only kind of like question left with him is he that like alpha dog drag you through the mud and to the top, right? Like, cause like for all of Trae Young's foibles, he's got that in him. He's got that like, I'm going to drag this team a little further than it should go. Like when it's that big shot moment, I hit it for some reason. Like I always hit it. Even if my numbers are bad, I'm going to hit the big shot. Right. Is Jalen there? Because if he is, does Atlanta need Trae Young? And this has been the question
for quite some time. I think what is how valuable is Trae to your team when he's the one dominating the ball and not many people get to feel it and all that type of stuff. Yeah, sure, the offense looks great when it's humming, but then guys get bored. They don't give the same effort out on the defensive end of the court, which is important. This team has looked really well defensively as well. With when you have Nikhil there, you have Dyson Daniels there, Jalen Johnson can play both ends. That Onyeka Okongwu, a multi-versatile defender. KP's there, like he could still block some shots when he's healthy. So you got this defensive team, and I don't know if they lock in the same way when Trae's your point guard. Just for the fact that you kind of lose interest when you're just sitting on the corner for a little bit, just running pick and roll all the time. Like guys don't get to feel the ball. I think with Jalen Johnson, sure he was dominating the ball, but I think it was in a way that everyone felt somewhat involved, which I think is a big difference. So I'm curious to see when Trae comes back tonight, these next few games, how that mesh works, because now they saw that they can be successful with someone else at the helm, handling more of the playmaking duties. Now is the time to see will Trey, because remember they brought in DeJounte Murray those years back to see if they can split up ball handling responsibilities, and didn't really pan out in the way that they expected. So now you have another guy who's naturally developed into that playmaking role from your development. Will he concede some of his playmaking responsibilities to that player, and be more of an off-ball guy when needed to be, and he could still be the on-ball guy as when he needs to be too, and that's what will make him a true versatile threat that could be a winning player in any type of situation.
You mean like a situation like the rebuilding Bucks because they're going to trade him for Giannis?
For Giannis. that would be something.
That would be a good return for Giannis. Like Jalen Johnson right now, that'd be one of the best returns you can get in basketball right now. And that says a lot about the kid, right? Because he was like a mid-20s pick,
something like that. Like he was in the top. I don't think it's a top 5, but there's always like murmurs about him being like this really good player. But there's also questions as well. Will the athleticism match his talent? Like there's all like these questions when he came out, but he has found them. He has found it and surpassed whatever we thought he could be already.
When do we start saying like Atlanta? Is Atlanta a good drafting team, or are they a draft lucky team? Right, because they've also got this pick in the upcoming draft that could be a top 5 pick. Right, that's not good drafting, but that's draft luck.
That's luck, yeah. Just being in, having that option a bunch of times, you're gonna strike on some of them.
I mean, they did draft Luka Doncic.
They traded him instantly though.
Once upon a time.
But
best player out of that draft.
They pulled out Onyeka. They pulled out Jalen Johnson. They pulled out Trey. Even though they had Luka was there as well, but they put out Trey. I don't think they were ever able to get Luka. Like I think it was a trade based on that they wanted to get Trey more so. I don't even know if they knew Luka was going to be available at that position, but they already kind of made the because I think they expected like him to go first or second, and it just kind of fell. But they already kind of made the deal to do it. It'll be. I'm not sure where we go with that, to be completely honest. It'll be interesting to track.
Yeah, they're for a franchise that was like kind of a joke not long ago. They're kind of like turning into like a really kind of like clever franchise. Like Atlanta. They're making some
and they got Snyder over there too. That they'd be head coach. Like they've done some sneakily like decent things that not damage them to. So the next big move for them is to see whether or not they can work this out with Trey. I think they'd be better off just moving Trey, and getting like a less impact point guard. And I know a team that'll be chomping at the bit to get him, probably Minnesota, who's been saying every 2 seconds that they want a point guard. So I think they'll be really interested in if that was to happen. But I think that's the next move for Atlanta, to see what they have with Trey. Can he work with this team? Can they win with him and Jalen Johnson together? If not, how do we make this move? Another team that's similar in that respect, I think, is Orlando. But I think we could save that for another time. We have some MVPs to talk about.
Quickly, and then I gotta.
Yes. We got obligations nowadays. So MVP, the MVP race, which I think is a lot more interesting this year. Although last year's was very interesting. It was, even though it was between 2 players, I think it still was an interesting one. But I think this year the web is just a little bit wider. Maybe it's only a 3-player race. Could be a 4th. I don't know if Wemby has missed too many games already, or he's projected to miss too many games. That takes him kind of out of it. Giannis is going to miss too many games, so that takes him out of it, or else he also would have been in this conversation. But as we have it now, the NBA ladder has it as Jokic is number 1, Shea is number 2, Luka at 3, Cade at 4, Jaylen Brown at 5. And then your next 5, they have Brunson at 6, Reeves at 7. Austin Reeves. Who'd have thought? Tyrese Maxey at 8. Anthony Edwards at 9 and Sengun at 10. Surprises, favorites, dark horses.
Cade at 4 is a surprise. That's just a testament. Reeves is a surprise. He's just having what a year. we're beginning to churn over though, right? Like KD's not on that list. Like LeBron's not on the list. Like Curry's not even on the list.
Yeah.
So we're beginning to actually see this turnover of talent in the NBA. I think the top 3 is correct, and I think a lot of it's going to come down to other factors beyond beyond the individual play this year. I think one's going to be like injuries. Are you going to just like miss the cut because you got an injury? I think one's going to be success. So, for example, like Jokic may statistically be the unquestionable MVP, but if the Thunder win 75 games, like Shea's the MVP. Like he's the best player on the best team, perhaps the best team of all time. All right. Yeah. And it's the same thing. Like if that Luka Magic and that Laker Magic become one Magic, Luka could steal this thing still, right? Like if everything just kind of works for the Lakers the way that it tends to work for the Lakers, he could still walk away with this thing.
I think the interesting thing with Luka is he's been the guy that I think every offseason going into the NBA season, the talk is Luka's set to win an MVP. This is Luka's year for MVP. I feel like this might be one of his strongest years, though, that he's had in the NBA, and probably the strongest chances to get an MVP award. With like he's averaging 35, 9, and 9. Like it's leading the league in scoring and averaging 9 and 9. I mean, Jokic is averaging a triple double, but
the Lakers are only one game behind Denver.
Exactly,
though.
they're close.
They're only
very
one
close.
game. Yeah.
Like Luka's thing is like he's not the most efficient with the ball all the time. He only shoots like 33% from 3, so his efficiency isn't that of like a Shea. But he's still 35, 9 and 9 on a number 3 team in the West. Usually gets you MVP. If it wasn't,
it's crazy how it's the 1, 2, and 3 teams in the West have 1, 2, and 3 in the MVP.
Probably the 1, 2, and 3 best players in the NBA.
Yeah, and then the best team in the East has the 4th MVP. In odds.
Your star player is definitely matching your team success right now. These guys are carrying their teams, bringing them, elevating their teams to this level, which is nice to see. So I think that's why I have Cade in that and in Detroit in that like OKC light bubble where like they're on like this little rise here. Cade has never been, again, similar to Luka. The efficiency has always been like the question with Cade. Health has been a question with Cade. These last 2 years he's been able to put it together so that he hasn't missed too many games, and the shot has looked a little bit better. He's been able to pick his spots more easily, but he's averaging 27.5, 6 and 9.5 assists. Like he's just doing absurd stuff to lead this team in the East by a fair margin. Like they're the first in the East. I mean, Knicks are still on their tail by 2.5 games in first. But after that, it's like 5.5 games, 6.5 games. They're starting to pull away from the rest of the pack here. If they continue playing the way that they have, I think they will just do that, and Cade would be a strong reason for that. I think one of my, I don't know if surprises, but one of like my dark horses here would still be Maxey. They have him at 8.
Really?
They have him at 8 right now. I think he's been out the last couple games. He was hurt. I know he got hurt recently.
He got hurt for a bit,
When that happened, Philly dropped in the standings at the same time. They're still 14 and 11, which that's basically put you in between 2nd and 10th in the East. So anything can happen with this team. If Maxey comes back and they get hot, I think he's like 4th in the league in scoring at this point. He's taken another step forward. I think he ends up, if not in the top like 5, I think he ends up in this top like 6-ish conversation, as long as he can get Philly back on track.
So I think for Philly to get back on track, it's more that you start getting a little bit more production from other sources. Like I think Jared McCann's production comes back to the level that you want. Quinn Grimes is playing to the level that you want. VJ Edgecombe is playing out. Mm-hmm. I think you get something out of Paul George, and you get like 85% of Joel Embiid. And that's how Philly comes back. I don't think it's like another step from Tyrese. So I understand what you're saying. just with him, with Tyrese, like I think we've seen his jump, and I think this is like I don't know if there's more in it,
Mhm.
and I'll be happy to eat those words. Like if we're talking in a couple months and he's like number 3 for MVP, like I was clearly wrong, but to me, like we are seeing the fully realized version of Maxi, and this is pretty much the best we're gonna get, which is a top 10 player in the NBA,
Who would
which
have
is
thought?
like
Drafted at like
you
21 or something like that.
something like that. And like like 20 teams wish they had a top 10 player in the NBA.
Yeah, like
You know?
they have him ahead of Anthony Edwards right now, and this is after he took
That's
a step
wild.
after he took a step back. He was
Yeah.
higher on this list apparently before. I see the arrows pointing up and down, so he was higher on this list before, and he went down recently, probably just because of injury. But I guess I look at it from the perspective of they have Jalen Brunson here as number 6, and I'm just not. I like Brunson. It comes off like I don't like this guy. I do like Brunson. I really do like his game. I like these small guys when they're able to like play in this way. I just feel like Maxi, 1 younger, 2 is just a slightly better than him, a better version than him. And if he was on the Knicks, and if he was doing the things that he's doing currently on the Knicks, he averages more points than Brunson. Brunson playmaking abilities, I would say they're around the same. Defensively, I'd like Maxi a little bit more when he's
Me
peaking.
too.
So I think the edge just slightly goes to Maxi there. And if Jalen Brunson is 6th here, then I just feel like, and Jalen Brown 5th. Jalen Brown, respectively, Finals MVP, former Finals MVP, so he deserves to be on this list. He is leading a Boston Celtics team to a top seed right now, so like well deserving of being on this list here. 29 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. The assist is what's really surprised me with him. But yeah, like if those guys are here on this list, to me, Maxi should be aiming to be in that same bubble, that same conversation. I think these last few years, he's really taken the helm of the Sixers team away from Embiid. No fault of Embiid, just simply due to the fact that he hasn't been healthy.
He hasn't been healthy, and Maxi's been great.
And Maxi's just been great in the interim. And now it feels like it's kind of like his team, and they kind of go as he goes. But yeah, Philly's success as a whole will come down to the others. It won't come down to Maxi. I'm not too sure if he's that 1A guy. Like we talk about with some of these other guys, or we're talking about like Scotty earlier and stuff like that. I don't know if he's a true 1A guy. I think he serves best as your number 2, but as a 1A guy, he's been doing pretty well.
He's been doing the business.
doing pretty well. Anything else from this list, or anything else in the NBA at all to talk about before we head out?
No, and I think that list just really what it does is it reflects what you said off the top, that it's been like a really exciting year in the NBA. Like it's been and I'm really glad that the Amazon numbers are reflecting that. Because a good product's been going out for a while, and it just feels like and this is just like it's kind of crazy that we still talk about it, but this is like a post-COVID feeling, that it just feels like all things entertainment took a step back after COVID.
It did, 100%.
But it's been a weird time, because it's been some of the best NBA that's actually like happened. Like we are living in a very good time to be a basketball fan. Right?
Yeah, the parity is great. You have a new champion every year. It's
the athletes are unbelievable.
The athletes,
the speed of the game.
Yeah. It's all here, like what they can do on the court defensively too. Like we're having like we talk about offense, but OKC's putting up one of the best defensive teams we've ever seen. And doing it in such a chaotic, like what do they call it? Like a chaotic, but chaotic good, like a chaotic,
chaotic evil.
It's like it's like an organized chaos like that they have going on there. With OKC, and that's just not your typical, like a lot of like these defensive teams that are like been like staples, are they're sound defensive 1 through 5. You're just gonna get your stops, you're gonna get your rebound, you're gonna march it down the other court. No, these guys are just finding ways to turn you over constantly.
Yeah,
2 years of
they're a
this.
swarm of bees. Yeah.
2 years of just like constant turning you over. You see Kason Wallace pulling you up full court. Then when it's not him, it's Dort. When it's not Dort, it's Caruso. When it's not him, it's Shea. It's when it's not him, it's J-Dub. It's someone that's doing something crazy on the perimeter on the defensive end, and then you have Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein just cleaning it all up. So offensively, yeah, we're in a peak for the NBA as we feel like we always are, and I feel like defensively as well, they're starting to figure out different ways to counteract this highly efficient offense that we've seen throughout the NBA.
Did we have a game recently where it was like 160 points one team scored? Like, I just want to say there was some absurd number recently.
Either last year or the year before, 100%. There was like some, like with the Wizards or something like that. It was like two of the most random teams did it too. It wasn't like anyone notable.
And like you'll remember watching basketball in the 90s, and like the game would be like 76-80. And you'd be like, that was barn burner. Like,
and to be fair, like
right? Like nowadays it's like double that.
We're getting like these 140-point games, 100 whatever games. But on the flip side, when these games slow down, like you'll see games that are like 95 to like 102, which is still a little bit more high scoring, but it feels like a slog, some of those games where it's just like this was just a grind. Like no one could hit a three, shots just aren't dropping, and the defense is just really into it this game. So I feel like we have more of that fluctuation now than we did maybe back then, where every game was kind of like we didn't have scoring outbursts like that. It was just like it was like if we hit 120, that was like that was magical. That was a magical game to be talked about for decades. But right now it feels like you can have like these explosive games. Like I've seen the Heat score about 146 times this year. On the flip side, they scored 90 the other night. So it's like these fluctuations can certainly happen.
Where are my other 50 points?
What happened to those 50? Definitely a great time to be an NBA fan. But that'll do it for this episode of the NBA Hangout. Thank y'all for hanging out with us. You can follow us at the NBA Hangout on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow me at BJAY93_, and you can follow Dave here every time we record. Thank y'all for hanging out. Peace.